by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana.
Good evening, New Orleans. I'm Maria Muro, publisher of New Orleans Living Magazine, and your host tonight. We have a lot to cover, so sit back, relax, get inspired, and let's enjoy the show. All right, so tonight we have a lot going on. We feature a fantastic couples life coach. Yes, you heard it right here. Then we're going to learn about Italy's favorite pastime to some pretty amazing women who are going to fill us in about a festival coming up this weekend. So now let's get started. All right. No one ever said that marriage or relationships are easy, but my guest works with couples as a couples life coach, and she's here to give us the scoop and maybe some really good tips on creating better relationships. Cindy, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Maria.
Absolutely. Well, Cindy, you know, when I learned about you and your practice and how you work with couples, you know, I've been in relationships, some of them successfully, some of them unsuccessfully. I was really excited because I think that a lot of people, all of us go through relationship issues, and a lot of people really don't talk about it. Is that something that you see as to why couples come to you?
Absolutely. There's a stigma about coming to couples therapy, which is why I do more life coaching. And people don't like to talk about their issues with other couples.
Right, right. Okay, so now let's talk about your practice, okay, and your philosophy and how you work with couples.
Okay, so I mostly see couples. I see individuals as well.
Okay.
The difference with individuals is you see one side of the street. When I have a couple come in, I'm really treating the space in between those two people. I'm not on one side or the other. It's 50-50. So my practice is mostly couples. I'm trained in Imago relationship therapy.
Okay, what is Imago?
Imago is based on the book Getting the Love You Want by Dr. Harville Hendricks. And Imago means idealized image of a partner. So in our minds, we have an idealized image. We pick that partner, and then we get mad at our partner because they're not meeting all our needs, when in fact, it's replicating our childhood. So it's a little bit complex. So I do either sessions in my office, I do intensives at my home, and I do a workshop once a quarter, which is a 2-day intensive. Usually a small group of couples, and it's just lots of fun. The purpose is to help you recreate why you fell in love and really have a connection with your partner.
Okay, well, Cindy, I'm so glad you brought that up because, you see, when people think therapy, there's a lot of it just sounds negative to me. Okay, it's like, oh, that couple's we're in therapy. It seems negative. So when I learned about you and the fact that you call it couples life coaching, I was like, that's my kind of, I guess, philosophy or what I want to be a part of. You know, I don't want to be a part of therapy. I want to be a part of a journey and you know, creating the best life possible. You know, even if I'm sure you have couples that come to you and maybe they don't work out, and that's okay, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes they come and that's the answer they get. They get clarity.
Oh, I love
but
that.
Most of a relationship is communication. And where do we learn those skills? It's not a high school course.
Right.
It's not a college course. We learn it in life, and we mostly learn it from our families of origin. We learned how to relate and be close and defend ourselves as a child. And while it worked for us in childhood because it helped us survive, it doesn't always work so well with our partners. It's not quite as welcome.
And also, if you have two couples, you know, who come together and culturally they're very different, you know, when you talked about the communication, for example, you know, I come from a very large Italian family. My parents weren't very affectionate in terms of verbally, but yet we showed our affection physically. We're huggers, we kiss, and food. Food was affection. And then, you know, you meet some other families where they're very verbal. They say, I love you. We didn't grow up saying I love you to our parents. Okay, but we knew they loved us and vice versa. So is that what you do? You teach, I guess, couples how to communicate to each other?
Yes, it's how to communicate to each other, and it's how to have a certain dialogue. It's really listening, Maria. It's not about talking. It's really about listening and how to hear where your partner is. Like, I'm on this side of the bridge, my partner is here. If I want to hear what he has to say, I can't really hear it from where I am in Cindyland. I have to go across the bridge to Bobland. I really need to say, what's it like to be you? And to keep my reactivity down while I'm listening to him. That's why couples go around and around.
Okay.
And when you were talking about the different upbringings, there's also different love language. You know, for my partner, it may be time and physical attention.
Okay.
For me, it may be more, you know, gifts and flowers.
Right.
So it's really learning what is your love language, what is your partner's love language, because you want to give it in the language that your partner can hear.
Wow. Oh, Cindy, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so now tell me, okay, so you have the workshop as an option, but then let's say couples who, you know, who are watching the show tonight and want to come and meet with you, is it something that they do with you weekly? How does that work?
It depends on their schedule. It depends on my schedule. And, you know, New Orleans, some people are offshore for a month.
Okay.
So I work it for the couple. However it works, I do early morning, I do lunch, I do a couple of late evenings, and I sometimes do a Saturday. But it depends how the couple wants to work, and it depends on the crisis level.
Okay.
If there's been an affair or there's been a major injury, you absolutely want to be in that office every week.
Okay.
You know, if you're just coming in to enhance the relationship,
Okay.
that never happens.
Okay.
Then you can be more lackadaisical about it.
Okay.
I always give homework in between. So they have a chance. I mean, it's dialogue.
Okay.
It's talking to each other.
So what kind of homework? Give me the scoop on that when you say homework.
She'd really like you to be home from work at 6 o'clock 2 nights a week. Is that doable?
Got it.
He'd really like you to get up by 9 a.m. and have the kids ready so he can get out the door.
Sure.
Does that work for you?
Okay. Wow. I love this.
So
okay,
it's behavioral.
Okay, so it's behavioral as well, and it's also about, I guess, you know, when we talk about healthcare, and you know, on my other show, I deal with a lot of physicians, and you know, we're all about prevention, how to stay healthy, you know. And when I learned about you, I said this is going to be such a great topic because I think there is prevention when it comes to relationships.
Right.
How can we prevent from going down this path? You have to recognize that you have a problem first, and then get the right tools.
Correct. And I would love it if couples came in right when they got in relationship. But that may be a little too scary for some people.
Okay.
But learn the tools. What you learn in the workshop and the couple sessions are tools. You want those tools because the first 6 months chemically is bliss.
Okay.
You're going to not have a lot of problems.
All right.
It's going to be like really dynamic, and you want to touch your partner all the time. You want to do all the same things.
It's fun, the butterfly.
You think you're one.
Right.
And all of a sudden, month 7, you wake up and go, I don't like that when you do that. I think that's kind of annoying.
Okay.
You didn't tell me that. I'm disillusioned.
Right.
That's when you need those tools.
Got it. And so what would you say, you know, is the number one reason couples come to you? Like, what are the biggest issues you see in relationships these days?
The biggest issues is lack of communication, too much fighting in communication, affairs, alcohol, and the really worst one that comes in my office, Maria, is the couple that is just dead.
Wow.
They come in and they have nothing to say to each other. There is no energy in the room. They came in way too late, and they're really just waiting for one or another to say, I really want a divorce.
Right. And a lot of times you hear a lot of couples who, you know, seem like they did not. We all know that couple. The couple that just seems so perfect. They never argued, and then 20 years of marriage and they decide to get a divorce, and you're like, what happened? But then you have these other couples who do bicker, but at least, like my parents have been married for 63 years and they never stop bickering, but that's their own way of communicating.
At least there's passion.
Yeah, there's really passion. Big fat Italian family, very passionate.
Right.
Okay, so Cindy, you know, in terms of again, you know, it's therapy, but it's life coaching. How does someone, you know, reach out to you? Do we call? Do we make an appointment? How does this work?
All the information's on my website, doc4relationships.com, doc4relationships, and my website is there, and email and telephone. And just set up an appointment, or, you know, ask me when the next workshop is.
Right, and you don't have to it doesn't have to be a long-term commitment. They can just try it out. Guys, I'm going. I have a lot to learn. Let me tell you. We all have a lot to learn.
And there's always a dragger and a draggee.
Okay.
Like both partners don't come in and say, oh, I'm so glad we're here.
Right.
One of them is usually like,
right.
But it doesn't matter.
Right.
Once you get to the office, you realize that that's a safe place to really have your conversations.
Absolutely.
And couples have conversations that go 10 years back. It's under the surface.
Okay.
Have the conversation. Get it out. That's that couple that gets divorced in 20 years.
Okay.
And nobody knows why.
Right.
They've
Absolutely.
never had conversations.
Okay. And my last question, if, like, for example, I have a lot of fabulous single friends and all of us have been in different relationships, and can somebody see you, you know, to even as an individual, even if they're not?
Absolutely.
I'd rather learn now before getting into a relationship as to maybe what are some of the things that I'm doing wrong or that I can improve on, right?
And what were your repetitive patterns?
Right.
We usually pick the same partner, different hair color,
Okay.
different name, but we pick the same issues that we need to work through.
Got it.
So, number one, there's a book called Keeping the Love You Find,
Right.
which is the version for singles.
Okay.
For couples, it's Getting the Love You Want. For singles, it's Keeping the Love You Find.
Okay.
And I do an eclectic mix of therapies.
Okay.
So it's not
Wonderful.
just, yes.
Well, guys, you heard it here. Her website is docforrelationships.com. Cindy, you are awesome. I look forward to seeing you again. And thanks so much for, you know, just for inspirational work that you do, you know, for couples in New Orleans. Thank you so much.
Take good care.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back.